Okay, today's class is inspired by a post I saw today on Instagram talking about just letting yoga be simple and not needing to overcomplicate the yoga practice, and how beneficial just being in the flow with familiar and somewhat simple yoga asanas, movements, poses can be. So today we'll be doing a little more flowing through our simple movements we've done many times before, and in the hopes that we won't have to use as much brain power to hear the cues and figure out what they mean. So we'll be sticking to um, simple and flowing movements today. We'll start laying down. So go ahead and get to a comfortable spot, maybe Shavasana with your arms and legs outstretched, maybe constructive rest pose with your knees bent and your feet standing up near the edges of the mat. Feel free to take some little movements as you start to settle in somewhere eventually, but you can kind of shake off the day or just get a little stretch to help you settle in. If stillness feels welcome at any time, maybe sinking into that feeling, connectedness between your back and the floor. And you might let your eyes close here as your existence becomes more and more full of ease. And noticing your breath, either just letting your breath flow naturally or starting to deepen and elongate both parts of the breath, both the inhales and the exhales, maybe even kind of smoothing out that hang time in between each breath. With each exhale, imagine stress, tension, or frustration, anger, any kind of emotions that you'd like to process through. Just imagine with that exhale that you're processing a little bit of that or releasing a little bit of that. Feel as your body follows suit, softening your jaw, softening the muscles around your eyes, all the muscles of your face, your shoulders and arms, both hands and feet. No need to use effort there. And flowing breath, softening any tension at your core or your back. Checking in with the hip joints, and even if they feel a little stiff or tight, we're just kind of working with it. So if it stays, that's fine. Just seeing if we can digest some of these feelings. I don't know why digest seems like the right word. Process. If it suits you, you could even imagine that you're inhaling into the joint, like the hip joints if you want, even though, of course, we're not literally breathing into the hip joints. We can send our awareness and our energy to those areas as we breathe. Any other places that catch your mind, any excess tension that you notice, see if you can smooth it out with a few breaths. Let's take a couple rounds of the physiological sigh. That's going to be an inhale almost to the top, and then kind of like another, like almost like a sniff of air. So there's two inhales and then a nice smooth exhale. So just work with it a little bit here, breathing almost all the way in, and then a little at the top. You're welcome to breathe out of your nose or out of your mouth. Let's do it a few times. Breathing in twice. And exhaling. Let's do that a couple more times. Maybe one or two more times. You might recognize this pattern of breathing. It happens with babies and children and adults sometimes too, animals. Usually in children, kind of like after a big cry, you might notice a kind of a so kind of a nervous system release, physiological sigh. Something to try out in any moments you feel like you're ready to settle after a big emotion. And then coming back to a smooth pace of breath as you wiggle fingers and toes. Stretching the arms and legs long, reaching in opposite directions, long body stretch. Feel free to wiggle around a little bit in it, maybe reaching one hand or arm farther than the other, almost like you're climbing a ladder and you've got all the upper body strength in the world. You're just cruising up that ladder. Okay, and we'll take a little side bend to the right, walking your heels over toward the right edge of your mat, grabbing hold of your left arm or wrist, and gently directing your upper body toward the right, creating that nice side bend and lengthening through the left side of the body. And breathing more into that left side, that left lung. And releasing that to head to the other side, walking your heels over toward the left, grabbing hold of the right arm or wrist, and side bending to the left, expanding now through the right side, the right lung. And we're more so thinking about lengthening and expanding the right side than we are like folding over to the side. Just focus in for a breath or two more on the right side. And then come back to center. Let's pull the knees in toward the chest. Take a little bit of free movement here as you rock and roll a little bit of pressure around your back and your low back and your sacrum. You can either keep your head and shoulders on the floor as you circle your knees, or if it feels good to you, maybe rocking and rolling a couple of times up and down your spine. And then we'll take just a little twist here. So coming back down to your back. If you're rocking and rolling, let's keep the legs here lifted. You can have your shins more or less parallel to the floor or tucked in a little bit more. Adjust as you go. Our arms will come out to the side for support. Take a breath in as we're here at the top. Feel your core and your abdominal muscles engage. And exhale slowly with control, twisting the legs toward the right. Inhale, come up to the center. Exhale, slow with control to the left. Inhale, center. Let's do that a couple more times. This time as we exhale the knees to the right, let's look toward the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, knees to the left, gaze to the right. Back to center now, and go ahead and lower your feet down to the mat. Toe heel your feet out a little bit wider, and this time we'll windshield wiper just the knees here. So letting the knees, or the shins more so, are like the windshield wipers. Letting the knees go side to side. Okay, let's keep the knees bent here. We have constructive rest legs. You could even let your knees kind of rest together at the center. Let's go ahead and reach the hands like straight up from your chest. Start to reach even more so your shoulders start to come up off of the floor, and kind of more of like the center of your back is getting is having that contact with the floor. And then go ahead and retract your shoulders so as much of your shoulder blades are flat against the floor. And it might be kind of a subtle movement, so just try that a couple of times. We're reaching the arms farther away, so we're kind of rounding through the upper back here. The shoulders and the shoulder blades are lifting. And then retract again, pressing the shoulder blades down into the mat gently. Let's reach the arms toward the sky again. And this time, let's wrap the arms around. Let's go right arm on top. Grab your left shoulder and your right shoulder with the right arm on top. Just wherever you can reach here. And we can start to rock the upper body a little bit side to side. And see if you can tune into that massaging pressure now, right between the shoulder blades. If you're not getting a lot of sensation here, if you have even like a small, soft, like a sock or a some kind of little thing you could put underneath your any sore spots there, you could kind of massage that area into your soft object for some extra sensation. Hope that made sense. And when you've had enough, let's let the arms open out wide. Tucking your shoulder blades in beneath you. Just feel some expansion, a little bit of a counter pose here. Expansion through the collarbones. And then we'll switch sides, so reaching the arms up and then crossing. This time the left arm can be on top or whichever one you have yet to do. And again, finding a little bit of rocking. You could lift your head up a little bit here to get into some other areas. Oh, that felt nice. I'm not sure if you could hear my back crack there. Probably not. When you've had enough of that, let's do one more long body stretch, reaching in opposite directions here. And then go ahead and turn onto either side, and then press your way up to a seat. Let's come right around to hands and knees for cat and cow. Hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Inhale, cow pose, belly lowers, gaze and tailbone lifts. Exhale, cat, rounding up through the spine, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone, maybe coming up to fingertips if you want. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Keep going at your own pace now. Extended child's pose is next with the knees out wide, big toes touching behind you. Take your time as you settle into a variation of child's pose that you like, maybe coming down to your forearms, or maybe walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sinking your head and heart down toward the floor. Breathing in a sense of spaciousness through your body, flow, ease, flow and ease. And when you're ready, come on up to tabletop. Let's get ready for our first downward facing dog, grabbing your blocks if you would like to, and then curling your toes under, lifting the tailbone high, maybe pedaling out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees. Remember, you can always bring your hands up onto the couch or a wall. If for any reason this feels like too much downward pressure on your head or your shoulders or wrists, elbows. All right, let's bend the knees, look up toward the top of your mat, step or walk your way to the top, ragdoll forward fold, paying special attention to your neck today. See if you can create a sense of weightlessness, or maybe, what's the right word? Just so your neck is not doing any work, length and space throughout the vertebrae of your neck. Maybe swaying a bit here or pedaling your legs out. Enjoying however you can. Let's go ahead and start to rise up to stand. Maybe walking your hands up your legs for support. Once you get to the top, we'll take just a little shake out here, a little moment to maybe lift and lower your heels. Maybe get your shoulders swaying a little bit here. Follow what feels right to you, adding on whatever you'd like. A little hot, feels nice to me. All right, coming on up to the top of your mat, take a look at your feet. Pick up your toes, spread out your toes and set them right back down. Mountain pose, flipping the palms to the front of your space. Maybe closing your eyes here as you feel connection through all the edges of your feet. Nice solid posture up the legs, core, the spine, and lengthening upwards through the crown of your head. Inhale, reaching hands high, upward salute. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing hands up to thighs. And exhale, bringing hands down to blocks. Let's step just the right foot back, lowering your right knee right away. With an inhale, rising up. And exhale, bring your hands back to your blocks. Step your left foot back, high plank. One big breath in. And exhale, lower your knees and lower your chest. Press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Inhale, rise up. Baby cobra. We'll stay lifted here for the exhale, feeling your glutes working here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, press your way up to tabletop and exhale to child's pose. Inhale, rise up to tabletop with the cat back, surrounding and leading with your shoulders on the way up. And then exhale, find your way back to child's pose. Stay here for another breath in. And another breath out. Inhale, rising up, tabletop. And exhale, downward dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, slightly bending your elbows, and exhale, reaching through the shoulders so your biceps end up closer to your ears. One last breath in, and exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look to the top of your mat. Exhale and step just your right foot forward, lowering your left knee down to the mat. Inhale, rise up, lifting your hands high. And exhale, bringing your hands to the blocks. Curl your left toes under, pick up your left knee, and then step to the top of your mat. That will be our flow. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a couple of breaths. Let's take a clearing breath or sighing breath in through the nose, out through your mouth. Inhale, hands reach high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bringing your hands to block, step just the left foot back, lower your left knee to the mat. Inhale, rise up, reaching hands overhead. And exhale, bring your hands to blocks, step your right foot back, high plank. Big breath in and out, lowering your knees and lowering your chest. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, stay lifted. One last inhale. And exhale. Inhale, pressing up to tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, rise up with a cat back to tabletop. And exhale, child's pose. 2 more breaths here in child's pose. Inhale, rising up, tabletop. Grab hold of your blocks and exhale, downward dog. Breathing in and breathing out. One more breath in and out. Inhale, bend your knees, look towards your hands. Exhale, step just the left foot forward, lowering your right knee to the mat. Inhale, reaching both hands high. And exhale, stepping to the top of your mat, bringing your hands to your blocks and your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few breaths here, connecting with your inner self, inner thoughts or feelings that only you know in this moment. Let's take one more big breath in and a sigh to release. All right, go ahead and lower your hands down. Shake it out if you want to. We'll get into some balancing with tree pose today. Of course, as always, grabbing props or getting close to the wall. I'm gonna try some kind of variation with my blocks today. I'm not really sure what yet, but we'll come up with something soon. Let's start with shifting your center of gravity to the right leg. Ooh, I know. If you want to use a block along with me, put the block next to your, or like right in between where your feet are gonna go. So right in between there. Okay, so we're shifting to the right foot. Maybe bringing your left foot up to your block for now, and then opening your left knee out toward the left wall, while still somewhat keeping your hips toward the front of your room. Try not to lock into your right leg. Finding an unmoving focal point to stare directly at and even through. If you want to, maybe bringing your left foot up to your leg or give it a little boost to your inner thigh, if available. And we'll just keep breathing and focusing. Your body will determine the timing for you. We want to get to a place of somewhat of exhaustion through that right leg. Let those wobbles come, let those wobbles happen. Those will help. Those are your stabilizing muscles helping you get stronger. Whenever you have had enough, maybe one more breath. And then with an exhale, lower it down, shake it out a little bit if you want. I've been learning about how falls in later life are sometimes like the catalyst to shortening people's lives. So we want to be able to stand on each leg for 30 seconds throughout our lives. So let's keep practicing. This time we're shifting to the left leg. Go ahead and bring the right toes up onto your block if you want to. Open your right knee out toward the right side at the hip here. Checking that we're not locking into the left knee. Pick your focal point, any arm or hand variations that feel right to you. Go ahead. Maybe lifting your toes up off of the blocks or bringing your foot to the inside of the left leg somewhere. Active through the foot, active through both feet, really. Even if you wobble, we know that's a good sign. If you're not wobbling, maybe purposely destabilize yourself a little bit to get that extra stabilizing muscle work today. And then whenever you've had enough, of course, step it on down, shake it out. And then we'll come on down to a squat next. I like to make myself like a little chair to sit on with my blocks. Feel free to do that as well, or even grab a seat of some sort. We can start by pointing the toes out and the heels in a little bit. You could bring your hands down to your knees and just kind of warm yourself up into it, or maybe even bringing your forearms or elbows down to your thighs if it feels good on your body to get into this malasana yogi squat garland pose. Feel free. Let's try to puff the chest up here, pulling the shoulder blades back behind you. Make sure you can still take flowing breaths here. If it's too hard to take flowing breaths, it's a sign that maybe you're a little too far into the pose. You can always kind of squat and sit on the edge of a chair or something else. You could close your eyes or find a drishti to focus on. Let's take about 3 more nice slow breaths. Okay, whenever the time is right, go ahead and come down to the floor, carefully moving off of those blocks, straightening your legs here, maybe giving them a little shake out. Go ahead and make your way down to your back. And when you arrive, let's pull the knees in toward the chest here and find more of that massaging pressure and free movement there through the low back, circling the knees or rocking and rolling a couple of times up and down the spine. And then bringing your feet down to the floor. Arms can come out wide here. Let's press the right foot down into the mat as we start to lift and straighten or almost straighten the left leg, circling your left ankle, wiggling your toes, and then bending your left knee to find figure four. Your left ankle on top of that right thigh. And finding variations, maybe pressing your left hand into your left thigh or knee. Maybe rocking your knees a little bit side to side. Maybe reaching to interlace your fingers behind the right thigh. Just as long as your shoulders and head can still rest on the floor. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. These are slow, deep ones. Just about 2 more breaths. And then bringing your right foot back to the floor. If it was lifted, let's start some twisting through the lower body here with figure four legs. So either direction, just letting your knees, your legs start twisting one way, and then up and over to the other side. Being extra aware of keeping your abdominals kind of engaged here as you move your legs side to side, just like we did at the start of our class today. In your own timing, switching sides, first by straightening your left leg up toward the sky once more. And then bring it on down, bending your left knee. Take a moment with both feet on the floor just to see how things are. And then pressing your left foot down into the mat, start to lift and straighten or almost straighten your right leg up, circling your right ankle, wiggling your toes. Circulation booster here. And then when you're ready, figure four, bending the right knee and placing your right ankle on top of the left thigh. Giving yourself a moment just to arrive here in this pose before adjusting, maybe pressing your right hand into the right thigh. Maybe letting your knees sway. Or maybe reaching to interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. If you want a variation that's somewhere kind of in between and you have a block handy, it's kind of nice to put a block underneath the left foot so you don't have to hold on with the upper body. You could give that a whirl. Sorry, I didn't mention it on the first side, but here we are. Invite more ease into your experience. Let's have about 5 more breaths on this side. Take your time with those breaths, eventually bringing the left foot back down to the floor if it was lifted, and starting to get into your twists, figure 4 twists. Doesn't matter which side you start on, just letting your legs go from side to side a couple times. And then we will reset. So coming back to the center, straightening and lifting that right leg up a little bit here. And then bring your foot back to the floor. If there are any other movements, poses, or stretches that you're wanting before our final meditation, go ahead and move through those now. Maybe a nice long body stretch, or happy baby, or something else. And then we'll get all set up for a nice, comfortable Shavasana. I'm grabbing a pillow for under my head. Just like we started today, maybe straightening your arms and legs, or keeping your knees bent and together. Constructive rest. And in today's meditation, let's keep it simple along our theme today. So that could become like a mantra for you. You might repeat, keep it simple, or something like that, something inspired by simplicity. You could create like a little phrase for your mind to focus on. Something that'll help encourage you to not overcomplicate it. Coming back to a state of simplicity amid our complex human lives. Just for a few minutes here, leaning into the concept of simplicity. Releasing any tension in your head through exhales. Releasing any tension through the jaw. Relaxing your tongue, your throat. Softening your body so there's maybe even a slightly perceptible or maybe even sub-perceptible, not perceptible way, softening your body so that just a little more of your body is touching the mat. Knowing that our practice today touched on all of the major muscle groups of our body. Let's let's keep it simple and just let our bodies have time to integrate the experience. Starting to prepare the awakening, prepare for the awakening process. You might let your head slowly turn from side to side as you open and close your jaw, yawn, or swallow. Wiggling fingers and toes and just generally inviting more movement back into your body in ways that feel right. Eventually ending up on either side in the fetal position. Feel free to take detours. When you do arrive on your side in the fetal position, try to take at least one more nice slow round of breath, practicing not being in a hurry. Eventually using the strength of your arms and your hands to press your way up to a seat. Let's join hands together at heart center, closing the eyes or kind of lowering your gaze. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free, and may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center now. Let's seal in our clasp, a little bow forward of gratitude. Thank you.